I'd like to suggest that we just stand for a minute's silence, please, in memory of Sylvia. Thank you. Okay. Right. Well, let's go into the meeting. Just before we go into item 1, just wanted to report really to Cabinet some positive news which I've recently been informed about, which I just would like to formally announce tonight. We've been successful in obtaining a Heritage Lottery Fund grant of £393,100 for Birkenhead Priory. This money will be spent on conserving the north and west range of the Priory buildings, completing other restoration works. We'll be doing work to improve the visitor experience through various interactive activities, including the latest smartphone technology, creating a digital learning pack for schools, a public performance programme based on the Priory's heritage, providing opportunities for volunteers to get involved, revamping the museum in the Priory's Undercroft. So, I mean, I think that's a really good news story, and I'm so delighted that such a substantial amount of money has been secured to, to help preserve what is certainly Wirral's oldest building, and is a key heritage asset for the borough. So I'd just like to add my thanks to the team who've managed to secure this funding, and look forward to seeing the Priory go from strength to strength. Chris, I know you've been involved in the application and securing the money. Do you want to say a few words?
Can I just say, Phil, that Joe Maguire and the team who work from the Women's Art Gallery, Joe Maguire is the conservationist down there. She's done an excellent job in obtaining this money, because this is the second lot of heritage funding that we've had for the Priory, and it's just looking fantastic at the moment. So if we could make note that Cabinet say thank you to all the team down there. That's great. Thanks.
Smashing. Okay, thanks very much. Right, that then takes us to the first item, which is the declarations of interest. Now, I'd like to suggest that on item 17, which is proposed changes to schools funding formula, that we declare a kind of block interest as we're all governors of schools in the borough. So, is that agreed? Yeah. Okay, so we'll register that interest. Are there any other cabinet members who wish to declare their interest?
Sorry, bro, just as a precaution, I wouldn't have to declare an interest if my brother is a lay reader at the Friday, would I? No.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no other declarations of interest, that's fine. Okay, item 2 is the minutes of the last meeting. Are we agreed that I sign the minutes? Okay, so that then takes us on to the finance items. Item 3 is the annual governance statement, which is before us this evening. Clearly this is an important document, a draft of the governance statement's already, I see, been presented to Audit and Risk Management Committee on the 18th of September. I just really want to make a few general comments. I'm pleased to see the references in the annual governance statement to some of the progress we've made on getting the council's finances on a sort of sustainable footing. I think that's welcome. I think the report also mentions the work that we've been doing around developing a new vision for the council, and clearly we've got a members training event on Saturday where we're looking at that. We've agreed that we'll have an annual policy council as a kind of new innovation within the council. So we'll have an annual policy council in November of this year to look at the future direction of the council and kind of refresh our corporate priority. And I think that's welcome. Clearly we've done quite a lot of work looking at the report around improving our corporate management procedures and policies. That's positive. And also making sure we get our sort of risk management in good order. Clearly on Section 5 there are still a number of sort of challenges ahead which are listed there. See the first one, for example, is around the bad debts issue, but I think we've taken quite strong and prompt action to address the bad debts, which we looked at earlier in the year, which is positive. And I think the other thing, Cabinet, that I'd draw your attention to is the conclusion, which talks about the auditors being pleased about the considerable progress that's been made to address the governance issues that we've been grappling with, and that's been reflected obviously in the recent Corporate Peer Challenge report that we had, and we've debated both in Cabinet and Council. But it also recognises a number of developments being put in place to address the further challenges set out in Section 5, and that we need to agree a plan and a review process to check that we've addressed those further items. So I think generally an encouraging report, and lots of progress has been made, but a fair amount of work still to be done. So I'm going to suggest that we agree the recommendation, which is that the annual governance statement and action plan for 12-13 and the updated code of corporate governance is approved. Is that agreed? Okay, thank you. Okay, so that takes us on now to item 4, the statements of accounts for 2012-13. I think these statements of accounts have been to Audit and Risk Management Committee. But the thing that, again, I want to draw attention to is paragraph 2.10. Clearly, this is a report that relates to 12-13, the statement of accounts relates to 12-13, when we had a number of pretty, big challenges, to address. Not least a £17 million overspend from the previous administration, which was a huge challenge. And again, I think it reflects the distance that we've travelled, that we've addressed that, and later in the financial monitoring report, we're actually reporting an underspend now in the first few months of this year, which is great. But I think the paragraph 2.10, Grant Thornton recognised the progress made by the Council during 12-13 with the direction of travel being rated as amber. So, I think that's, we're not out of the woods yet by any means, but I think that's an encouraging external validation, if you like, of the progress that we've made. So I think that's very welcome. So I don't really want to say much more than that, except to say that we're being asked to note the statement of accounts and the audit report by Grant Thornton, and that 12.2 progress on delivering the actions identified in the audit findings report being monitored by Audit and Risk Management Committee. So can we agree those recommendations? Okay, very good. Thank you. So item 5 is the Treasury Management Report for 2012-13. This is an important report. It's reports on our investment activity, our borrowing activity throughout the year, and compliance with various prudential indicators. I think I just want to add my thanks to officers, particularly in the Department of Finance, who regularly monitor these measures and make sure that the council is the finances are being prepared and developed in a responsible and prudent way. So I'd like to thank all those concerned. We're being asked to agree the Treasury Management Annual Report for 2012-13, paragraph 12.1, and 12.2, the transfer of the saving of 1.7 million from capital financing activities in 2012-13 to the general fund balance be noted. So again, can I ask Cabinet to agree those recommendations? Okay, thank you very much. So that takes us on to the two financial monitoring reports. Item 6A is financial monitoring for 2013-14 month 4, and item 6B financial monitoring for 2013-14. Again, I just wanted to reiterate that I'm really heartened that we're in a position where, whereas this time last year we were reporting a £17 million overspend, this year we're able to, for month 4, report a £270,000 underspend, and then for month 5 a £320,000 underspend. I think that's a testament to the work that Cabinet members and officers have done to bring the budget under control. I think that's very welcome. The other point I wanted to make is the importance of monitoring the delivery of the savings that we agreed in the budget last year. I'm pleased to see that I think with a couple of items which are rated red, all the others are either blue, amber or green. So it's important that we keep a very close eye to make sure we are delivering the savings. And I think generally the report in the appendix of these financial monitoring reports are very positive in terms of making sure we deliver those savings. So I'm going to suggest that we agree recommendations in both 6A and 6B. I think just to finally say, I think it makes sense, it's sensible to continue the spending freeze, because clearly we've still got a substantial challenge in the year ahead around the savings that we need to deliver, and clearly we're out to consultation on budget options. But I think it makes sense, given the savings target that we need to achieve, to maintain the spending freeze. So that's recommendation in both 6A and 6B. So can we agree those recommendations? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so that then takes us to item 7, which is the governance and improvement item, corporate plan performance management report. Anne.
Thank you, Chair. This is a very positive report. You will have seen in your appendix attached to Cabinet papers that there's 31 indicators there, and out of those, just 1 amber and 3 are red, and they're the 3 that I want to address to Cabinet. The report does outline the current performance of our corporate plan as at the 31st of August. This is reviewed monthly by officers, and the policy and performance committees have had scrutiny and challenge and oversight of this whole plan, and any underperformance that's been identified has action plans attached to it to get things back on track. We are pleased with the progress that's been made, but there are 3 areas where I just want to say a word about each of those. The first one is in the Department of Adult Social Services, and I know Chris Mead, the cabinet member, is going in a moment is going to say something about that particular one, and what that particular area of concern is around the permanent admissions of older people aged 65 and over to residential and nursing care homes. The other two are one around maintaining the local environmental quality in terms of litter, detritus and dog fouling in our main gateway and shopping areas. Now on the litter and the dog fouling, we are meeting our performance indicators on that front, and have spoken to the cabinet member on that issue. But there is an issue around the detritus, I understand. The detritus is the sludge that's left behind when you get rid of all the other rubbish. But again, you know, that is being monitored, that is being, you know, checked over. It has been to policy and performance committees and had good scrutiny, and it will be checked on a monthly basis. Checked and monitored monthly, go through the performance and policy cycle, and it will also be coming quarterly to us. So I think in the next quarter, bearing in mind we're reviewing performance up to the 31st of August. I think in the next quarter we hopefully will see those red indicators turning green. The other indicator is one on which affects across the piece is a staffing establishment reduction compared to the savings assumptions that we made, and I understand there is a 1 month slippage there. So again, I'm reassured that when we go through the next cycle and Cabinet receive a further report on this, and it's been to policy and performance. I think just on that, Chair, what I would want to say, all elected members through the policy and performance process, committees have had an opportunity to review these particular items because they've been taken as exception reports to those committees. So it's, in general, it's a good news story. I'm just going to, the recommendation is for Cabinet to note this, and I hope that will be acceptable. But just before I ask you to do that, Chair, I wonder if I'd ask my colleague Chris to come in and just talk about the...
Thank you, Chair. The indicator on admissions to residential and nursing care homes is a particularly challenging one, and we're working more closely than ever with the NHS to try to manage this situation. As reported in the exception report, data has been gathered to analyse the impact of the initiatives and management actions as of September 2013. And while the data shows a marginal improvement, some of the management actions are still being embedded in operational terms. Teams and the impact of these will continue to be closely monitored over the next few weeks. In addition to the management actions and initiatives previously identified, DAS is also hoping to pilot a new mobile night service. This is subject to the agreement of the public health outcomes paper later on in the agenda. This is a really exciting project which will be able to respond to both planned and unplanned episodes of care and facilitate both admission prevention and discharge from hospital and care homes. It will have a positive impact on the number of permanent admissions to care homes, and improved monitoring arrangements have also been put in place together with enhanced performance reporting to senior managers, which will hopefully improve the situation. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, so it's a question of Cabinet note.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I just say, I think this is a really helpful report. I think it's good to have a manageable number of indicators that we can use to track progress across the council. And I think it's right that we've reported on those red areas that are red. But I think, for me, it's good news. It's good news that we've got 17 greens and 1 amber. So that says to me that in the general kind of overview of performance, we're doing pretty well. But obviously, we need to keep kind of monitoring this. So thanks for that, Anne. Thanks for that, Chris. Can we agree that report? Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Anne. Okay, so that then takes us to the central and support services items. Item 8 is discretionary housing payment fund 2013-14 policy supporting tenant shortfall in rent. Adrian.
Well, thank you, Chair. Can I say at once that this government policy demonstrates the full extent of conservative benevolence towards the poorest and most hard-pressed people in the country. In fact, it's comparable, I think, with the policy sometimes adopted by the powers that be before the drop in hanging, when to soften the misery of slow strangulation with hemp, they would provide a silken rope so that the whole process would seem to be very kindly and not at all hurtful to anybody at all. For our people here in Wirral, it's smoking bills, isn't it? It's smoking bills right across the country. The overall limit, which cannot be exceeded, means that ultimately there's a shortfall to be met from the council's own general fund. And by doing that, it can only be done by means of robbing some other part of our provision. So that's what this is really about. I don't want to say too much about it this evening because I know that there's going to be quite a lot said about this on Monday evening. But I must draw attention to the point made in 2.7, where since April the benefit service has received over 800 claims, with 50% of those as a direct result of the change in legislation. And further applications are expected once recovery action is taken by landlords, and it's still projected that this funding will be used within a year. Well, it's not going to be enough, it's not going to go far enough, and the demands on it are going to be too great. And I think everybody knows really that what the government is doing is using this as a part of its overall strategy, which has two prongs. One is that it's a policy intended to overall wage depression, and the second one is to ensure that the most vulnerable people in our society are going to be made to pay for the enormous benefits and other advantages that they're giving to the people who were directly responsible for the disaster in the first place. And when you consider what's the differences between what our people are getting here and the 1,000 highest earners in this country, if you could call what they receive as earning, I don't call it earning, but in the first year and a half after the 2008 crash, that 1,000 highest earners, according to the Times, had enough increase in their personal wealth to pay off most of the national debt. So this is very much the Sheriff of Nottingham government, and we are seeing the results of it here as well. And I strongly advise you to vote for the recommendation.
Okay, thanks Adrian.
George?
Thanks, Rodney. I just want to make it a point because I think sometimes I get asked to make calls on certain things, and this, because it has the name discretionary housing payment with the word housing, it gives the impression that it's something the housing department look after. This is a benefit that's done by the finance department. But nevertheless, some of the things that are in there, Adrian's highlighted a few of them there, but in terms of 2.3 and the government increase, which the argument was with Esther McRae at the end of the year and myself, over the size, it has jumped from 522,000 to 917,000. But prior to this year, there wasn't any bedroom tax. And therefore, the massive jump that is being seen, as Adrian has quite rightly pointed out, 2.2 million isn't going to be adequate enough. We're going to be having to dig into some general fund. There's no ifs and buts about that. So what I would say is, my contribution tonight, because I will make a strong point, I've now got figures for the first 6 months, which covers